That's one ad that I kind of hate. It's like, I call it just like the rich dude walking around ad. You know? Just people walking around. It's like, what? That doesn't do anything. There's no problem solution.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ecom Growth Show.
Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ecom Growth Show. Today with us, we have Travis Chambers of Chamber Media. Dude, I'm so excited. Excited to have you here. It looks like you're just getting a little bit of lunch in.
He's hungry for this show. He's ready.
I'm just going to talk and I'm not even going to chew. I'm just going to let it slowly
go down.
It'll be taken care of over time.
Just let it dissolve.
Dude, caught you mid-bite. Dude, what the heck are you doing over there? You guys have 80 people now? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, we're 80. I don't know if it's like 78, 79, but...
Bro.
That's close enough to 80.
It's in that neighborhood.
And quite a bit of it just from this year?
Yeah, about the last 10 months. It went from 20 to 80. To be fair, though, wow. I'd say 30 of those people, 20 to 30 of those people, like spending more than half of their time as contractors. So, I mean, in a way, we were really at like 40 or 50, you might say.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so awesome. Me and Daniel were just talking this morning how blessed we feel to be like pandemic proof. You know, nobody's burning us down. We're not in trouble in any way. Like we've been growing and stuff. So, dude, it just feels super good. And congratulations to you for growing so much in this year. That's awesome.
Thank you, and same to you guys. Do you guys want to see a crazy graph real quick?
I would love that.
This is perfect because we can talk about it, but no one can see it on the podcast.
That is perfect.
It's so what I did is I looked at about 30 different agencies in our space. I'll have to find out where this is. Yeah, okay.
Are we talking strictly video production agencies or all kinds of agencies?
Yeah, it was like, oh, shoot, I don't know where I put it, darn it, but it was, what I did is I looked at the 30 agencies that are like really good at ad buying, but also seem to have some kind of video element. And I found it. And we actually, you would think everyone in our space is recession proof, but most haven't been. Let me know if this chat, oh shoot, I don't know. Can I share my screen here?
Oh, make him the host maybe, Josiah. That should work.
Oh, there we go. All right. So do you guys see this?
Yeah.
It's probably hard to see.
It's tiny.
So anyways, you start looking at a lot of these other direct response agencies, and some of them have not grown during COVID.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which really surprised me.
Yeah.
That surprises me too.
Growth as well, right?
Yeah, we've been experiencing more growth this year than we have in any other year. So I mean, we're feeling really excited.
And you guys are how old?
I'm 30.
Agency wise?
We're going on 5 years. I think we're right around 4.5.
Okay, 30. I'm 32.
Oh, we're right in there.
29.
There you go, Rob.
Perfect, dude.
My partner is 28.
I didn't know you had a partner. Is that new?
He doesn't put his face in a lot of stuff. He likes being more on the operations side.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Dude, so what was it like going from like 30 to 50, some were contractors, up to 80 within 10 months? That had been crazy. Did you break anything, or did you guys have good SOPs and were able to handle that kind of growth quickly? Obviously you were if you're sustaining it, but what was that all like?
It was pretty crazy, and we did have to stop or slow sales a couple times, which is really like felt strange. So we did have a couple like stop and go moments, and that sucks because you stop sales, then you catch up, and then you reboot it back on again, and there's a lag. But you know, not as much stuff broke as I thought it was going to. And I think the reason is just because we had a game plan for growth actually that had nothing to do with COVID. And honestly, I really think we would have grown at least 80-90% of what we did regardless of COVID, because we just had this plan. We had this plan. We overspent on developing a leadership layer last year to prepare for it. So I think that just the leadership layer was there. I'd say there was 2 periods though of like 2 or 3 weeks where people were just like, this is totally mad. This is total madness. Like I can't do this long term. You know, and that's when we had just like slowed down sales, but it ended up, you know, working out great. We didn't end up having like any turnover really at all.
Wow.
I think we've only had 2 or 3 people in the last 6 months, 7 months leave or like have to be let go. So I think all things considered, it's funny, you look on LinkedIn and our medium tenure of our team and it's 0 years. That's a little terrifying, but you guys are like 15, 20, right? Something like that, 10, 15.
We're at 25 now, not including me and Daniel. So yeah, it's been pretty fun for us for sure.
You guys were what, 15 like a year ago or 10 months ago or something like that?
I think we were right around like 12. 12 around a year ago or so.
I think last January we were at like 12. So, and that's felt like a lot to us to go from 12 to where we are now. It feels like we've just about doubled and client base has doubled. And so we're figuring out a lot of that stuff as we go. We didn't have the plan completely mapped out. We didn't have all the leadership layers in place. So it's felt like we've had to do a lot of adapting on the fly. But yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. How has it been for you guys on the ad buying side? Because man, it's so hard sometimes. Because I don't know about how you guys feel, but you'll have like 20 or 30% of your clients make most of the money and they're the easiest. Mm-hmm. And then that bottom 30 or 40% are just so hard. And it's like they're on their last dollar and it's like they're hanging on with their fingernails and it's like you become their therapist. And
totally. Dude.
I don't know if you guys see that, but
yeah, we see that all the time. I think it's very normal in our world. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, like our client selection process has gotten really good for like media buying, because that's all we do over the last like year. So we've gotten really good at selecting the right clients, because actually our results across the board are pretty good, where we don't have like 70% of our clients as the problem clients anymore. That was the case when we first got going. But now, like I say, selecting the right clients has massively helped that out to where we have a really solid client base now, and our churn's super low, which is also assisting our growth, because we're not always, having to bring on new clients every month, even though we are. But we have a really solid base now that we've really liked working with. But dude, we still do have the ones where, I know what you mean, like to be their therapist. It's a real thing.
Yeah, and the buyback period for e-commerce, to develop a plan to do that, it can just be a long process and can require quite a bit of investment up front. So I know you're super familiar about that. But dude, what I thought would be cool today, since you're an agency and you guys do like these big, awesome video productions, you're very much, have a big creative part of what you do as well. And that's an area where we don't have quite as much experience. So I'd love to dedicate our conversation towards talking about ad creative, because I know you guys just do some of the most amazing things, and I'm always like laughing at the ad creatives you come up with and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask you, what, like everyone likes to talk about ad creatives that they love and like that are the best. But like in your opinion, what is like an ad creative that you feel just straight up like sucks? What are ads that you don't like?
I don't know if you guys see this, but sometimes lifestyle ads are the most common thing that brands want and they create, but they usually don't work very well. And they're like heavy on brand, but very low on direct response. I think sometimes it's the founders get really in love with wanting to have this beautiful, sexy brand.
Totally.
But they forget that not Nike, they're not Apple. And like, if you're not going to spend $100 million a year, you're not going to get that far with just lifestyle content. And I think it frustrates me too sometimes, because we'll make something that converts really well and that like looks really good, and then they'll say, well, and especially with apparel brands like apparel, beauty, luxury goods, they'll just say, we want like elegance first and beauty and aspirational content first, everything else last. And so they'll make that or make us run something like that they have, and it just doesn't work. So that's one ad that I kind of hate. It's like, I call it just like the rich dude walking around ad.
Totally.
People walking around, just like, what? That doesn't do anything. There's no problem solution. There's no, I don't know. I guess for apparel, it kind of makes sense sometimes, but yeah.
And I kind of feel like a lot of people are pulled that way because they think it works.
Yeah, I think it's like TV. It's like TV minded people, maybe.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So, yeah, I just wonder, like, for the people that do, like, if they have built their whole brand around putting out like a really luxury look, or they even call them. There's a lot of people that call themselves lifestyle brands, but if that ad creative isn't going to work, how would you help them try to like reframe what they're doing marketing wise to be able to grow their business?
Well, for a lifestyle brand, I think there's always a problem and a solution no matter what. And so you don't have to make the direct response or the call to action or any of that come at the expense. People, I don't know, I think so many brand marketers, they have such strong stereotypes about direct response creative that they won't touch it. Like I was that way when I started out, and then we made a treadmill dance for Nordic Track. We put 50 people on treadmills. The sole KPI was, we want to influence culture and make people think that treadmills are fun. So we were just doing a brand lift study and some other metrics, and we said, hey, let's put in some calls to actions, literally just like YouTube annotations back when that was a thing, at the very end, and it drove like 7 million in tracked revenue in addition to all the branded stuff. And so that was when the light went off for us of, you really have to do both. You can do both. Plus there's a whole sequence. There was a full funnel sequence too. Like if you do really want to run just aspirational, brand lifestyle stuff at top of funnel with 0 calls to action, that's fine. As long as you have really hard hitting mid and low funnel stuff and your AOV is like high enough, over $50 or $100 to justify that multiple touch point thing.
Yeah. Dude, that actually leads right into my next question, because I was going to ask you, what's like the best ad creative at different points in the funnel? Like, do you find that top of funnel, it's better to do stuff that's more just brand awareness and no direct response copy or clear call to actions? Or what's your guys' philosophy on that?
Yeah. So the top of funnel, I'd love to hear what you guys see too, because you guys have such, we have such a diverse clientele, probably, we have different niches and stuff. But what we see is the spokesperson ad obviously usually does really well top of funnel, and that can be 30 seconds long or 5 minutes long, just as long as it's an engaging, entertaining spokesperson that's maintaining eye contact with you. We see raw testimonials sometimes do really well top of funnel. Oftentimes we'll test like 7 or 8 of them, and just one will work and the others don't work at all, and we can run that top of funnel. We've had raw like iPhone selfie testimonials scale equally as well top of funnel as our $100,000 spokesperson videos. Wow. Which is pretty wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
So the assumption always is, well, why did we spend $100,000 on this thing?
Right.
And we're like, well, go ahead and turn it off and find out.
Yeah,
right. Totally.
It's like, it's like people buy for different reasons and they respond to different creative. And we've decided we did a lot of testing, because that was obviously a dilemma, is like, should we be making these big production videos? Are they worth it? And in some cases, no, they aren't. But what we found is there are skeptical people who want to feel like they discovered it in the wild and feel like it's something really like raw, and that they were so smart that they found this random testimonial and they usually don't even realize it's an ad, And then you have other people that are more of the brand aspirational people, where they want to see something that was beautiful, that was well made, that was quality. That means that the brand is quality too. And then obviously product demos typically work really well top of funnel as well. So those are the 3 that I think, if I had to pick 3 that most often lead the way, it's those 3 things. And we've started applying some like quantitative efforts towards creative. So we took the $80 million in spend that we've managed and we put it into a database, and we codified every single ad by ad name type. And then we identified the top 100 performing ads. We found that there were 7 different categories of ads. And then we went and we pulled 50,000 ads from the top Shopify stores and compared those public metrics with our internal metrics. We found out our ads performed 37% better on average than the top 1% of Shopify, top 2,000 Shopify store ads.
And did you discover why that is?
I just think it's because you get. I think what most people are doing, even marketers at the top 2,000 Shopify stores, is they're just creating and then they're spending in order to see what works. Whereas we do it enough that we see patterns, and so we immediately probably eliminate half of the things that they create and waste money on. Those things don't even end up getting made. You know? So, but just from that study that we did and that database that we have, I'd say those are the 3 that generally scale best top of funnel.
Dang, that's awesome. And I think it's helpful to point out that you guys have like a lot of bigger brands, bigger spenders, and people who are working with bigger budgets to create videos. You guys have generated like 600 million in client revenue, and that's just like trackable revenue, right? There's probably a lot more tied to that. So I think there's a pretty big difference between, some of the things that you're talking about and the scale at what you're doing things and what we're doing. We work with a lot of smaller brands like clothing boutiques and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say even so, there's still a ton of similarities, like as far as what would work top of funnel. We're always trying to push, story top of funnel quite a bit, like the story of the brand, the purpose and their vision for what they're trying to achieve. And we're not really trying to get like super, unless they have a really, really good product, then we'll push product demonstrations top of funnel. But a lot of times just trying to get fans of the brand and getting people sold on that business. And then from there, in middle of bottom of funnel, is doing a lot of the social proof. We'll do a lot of like the user generated content, like reviews, stuff like that. The more organic looking stuff, we'll oftentimes run that middle of funnel, and that seems to work pretty well. Just adding the social proof layer after they're already interested and after they've had a chance to look over the website, click things over and stuff like that. And then of course, bottom of funnel, that's where we reserve you know, the ability to do like offers and stuff and discount codes and more social proof. But yeah, it's really interesting hearing you talk about, even just one of my questions on here was, you know, between like selfie quality to like Super Bowl quality type productions, like what is the relationship between those two? Do you need them both? And it's cool to hear that you guys have done tests where you've spent like $100,000 doing a nice production, and then you've also ran stuff that was done on a cell phone, and they're both important, right? So I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that and how you think about those differently.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if I had to guess, I'd say the majority of our industry thinks that large production videos are not worth investing in. Like people would say they are, but when the founder gets down to it and actually has to spend the money, usually they would prefer if like an Upwork freelancer video would scale. And that they all wish that was the case. But what we've seen is the mistake people make is they all look at ROAS, and ROAS is the only metric that they look at. But what we have seen is the two major correlations with production value. And we had to really study this because we were very biased towards selling higher production stuff because it's better business for us. You know, we want people to spend a lot of money with us. And so what we found is that the two things that dramatically change is longevity and the back end metrics. So usually there's been a very strong correlation with production value and longevity. We've seen that lower production, like UGC, by the way, UGC works great. I'd say a third of the ads we're running are UGC or the faux UGC that our employees are shooting at their desks. But on average, we see that the low cost, you know, mid to low funnel stuff usually lasts less than 2 or 3 months. Whereas the higher production stuff usually lasts 5-6 months plus.
That's awesome.
So that's a huge difference. Just the ad fatigue is different. And there's all sorts of guesses and assumptions. I don't know that we can claim to know exactly why that is. And on that, the other huge difference we see, which is very difficult sometimes for founders and internal people to track, we usually have to track it for them. And even then, they only believe it like 80% of the time, is the average order value, the reorder rate, the conversion rate, the email open rate, all of those things we end up seeing go up pretty dramatically. And I just think it's just like going to a Vegas show. Like the production value is going to have an influence on you and how long you remember that performance, because it's very difficult to make something that people remember, and production value is just like one of the easiest levers to pull to make an imprint and make that thumbprint. And so those two things really, at the end of the day, it's brand awareness, it's brand lift. Everyone hates, in our space, direct response, everyone hates brand awareness, brand lift. And we've noticed like the Fortune 1000 brands and probably like the top 2000 Shopify brands, they understand the importance of brand. And especially the top 2000, most of those companies aren't profitable. They're just like massively VC funded, and they're just trying to acquire customers as fast as possible. So those guys get brand, you know, those guys usually come from a brand world. But, you know, all the like $2 to $20 million e-commerce companies that aren't funded, they oftentimes just don't, you know, they don't usually come from like big ad agencies or, you know, a lot of them just got a really great product and, you know, they're self-taught type thing. So those are the two things we see with production value. Yeah,
that's super awesome. What are some of your like most favorite projects you've worked on, or most favorite productions you guys have done?
I think the favorite is Nerd Skincare. Nerd Skincare was, I think it was our third or fourth project. And it was one of our first heavy direct response Dollar Shave Club styled videos. And we just, I don't know, in every single possible way, we got so lucky. Like every like part of an anchor video that can go wrong just went perfectly right. The actor, the script, the sets, the message that we chose, the sales mechanics, the scenes. I mean, just like everything about it just was just like perfect. Which is crazy because Nerd Skincare only had 40 grand in sales in their first year. They were VC funded. They gave us every penny they had in their funding, and they said either you succeed or I give up and I move back to Taiwan.
No pressure.
Jeez, dude.
And it went to 4 million in 6 months, 4 million in sales. And I think our top like top line ROAS was a 3-to-1 throughout. But the reorder rate was like 30%.
Wow. That's awesome.
So blended ROI, it was like a 5-to-1. So yeah, it was just a very like fond project for us.
So you guys did, like, it sounds like you moved pretty fast to do that in the first 6 months. Did you guys come out of the gate just spending quite a bit, or is that something where you made the campaigns, you saw there was something special, and then just started going pretty hard after that? Or like, what did that process look like, you know, from the time you guys had the finished video to launching the campaigns and getting them? I think you said 4 million in the first 6 months.
Yeah, we spent in that 6 months. They spent about $1 million on ads. We launched with 50 grand.
Okay.
And then it scaled up. I can't remember what it scaled up to exactly. Was it 150 or something like that? Pretty quickly. And that first month or two, it was just a constant battle with the founder. It always is. Always is. I just spent all this money on the video. Is the performance going to be there? Plus, it's skincare, which is just a reorder business, anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, 50. And if you look at some of our other biggest case studies too, they also started with 50 grand. So I like that 50 number for launching it. I think that's the minimum viable if you're going to launch, you know, $100,000 suite of assets. Right. Otherwise, don't spend $100,000 on creative if you're not going to spend at least 50 a month on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dang, that's awesome. What about, so like, obviously we're into Q4, moving toward the holiday season. Do you guys do any of these big, you know, and I guess that maybe this is a good question, is do you consider what you're doing to be like big budget productions or campaigns, or I guess in the realm of that side of your industry, is that even necessarily what it's called? Sounds big budget to me just because we don't do that, but.
As far as like holidays goes?
Just in general, like your guys' campaigns that you create, do you guys call those like big budget campaigns?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with that because we don't do big video productions, but in my mind it seems like those are big budget campaigns.
Yeah, we consider them big. Like we don't do a high volume of those. Yeah. You know, it's like 20 or 30% of our business are the big, huge projects.
Dang, that's awesome.
So, we got limited capacity on those, you know?
Yeah.
We can't be taking like 20 of those every month, you know?
Right. Yeah, that'd be crazy. So do you guys do any of those geared around the holidays specifically?
Yeah, but not as much as you would think, actually.
Because of the reason is longevity, or?
Yeah, I think it's more of like, let's make something work. Because if it works the rest of the year, it's going to work during the holidays too. Yeah. Usually the holiday stuff's more mid to low funnel stuff for us. Yeah. So we actually get a surprisingly few number of like holiday specific creative when it comes to like the bigger production stuff. The lower stuff, tons and tons of, get it now, Black Friday, tons of that stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Dan, did you have any other questions?
Man, as soon as we started talking about KPIs and numbers, I got so bored.
I know it's
nothing to do with Travis. It's like, dude, what is this? But I think it's bad. I think
it's really hard to make content in our industry.
Yeah, it totally is.
Like I've been trying, because like, 90% of the content out there in the Facebook groups and the ads, it's all numbers based.
Yeah.
And I've always thought, like, I don't know if founders really care. I'm like, somebody needs to be out there making entertaining stuff about how hard it is to be a founder and how, all that stuff, like managing a business and, dreaming big and that kind of stuff.
Totally. That's what excites me more. And because that's more our role now that we've shifted out of the production side. Like when you're asking us what we do at different stages of the funnel, I don't really even know anymore at this point. Like I could say some general things, but we have people that love that stuff that are really good at it and are in that. And so I agree with you. It's more fun to talk about the big picture, inspirational stuff, just because that's kind of the zone that we live in, which I imagine is the same for you. You're probably not editing videos and creating Black Friday specials or anything like that.
Yeah, I look at it like ad buying is a lot like cameras. It's like I actually never learned how to operate a camera. I couldn't tell you the right ISO, the right like shutter speed, the right. I couldn't even tell you like the exact lens you need for a certain shot. I couldn't tell you the exact lighting setup. Like, when I'm on set, people think I know, but I don't. I just know the like creative strategic parts of it. Yeah. But it's just the same with ad buying. It's just like, the hard part, as you guys know, the hard part is telling the story and finding messages that really work. And that's the hard part.
How do you get how do you discover somebody's story, somebody's message? If they come to you and they don't necessarily know what that is, they don't know what makes their brand special, what does that process look like? Because I know you guys do all these amazing fun things, but I'm thinking not everybody had that idea when they came to you.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't always get it right either. Like I would say our messaging only works, our stuff only gets positive ROI maybe 60 to 70% of the time as far as creative goes. Then the other 20%, 30% is break even, and they have to make money on the LTV. They usually keep doing it, but there's 10 or 20% of the time where it's not ROI positive, and obviously that has a lot to do with the product as well. But
that's how I know you're actually working with bigger brands with budgets, is when they can stomach that and keep going and spending money at that rate.
Yeah, one thing that's so frustrating for us, or that's hard, and I actually understand where they're coming from, but we work with much smaller clients who are very, very picky about, return on ad spend, and this really isn't a good metric for them to be growing their business. And so we have a really good selection process, and we have, even when you take an average of all of our clients and the return on ad spend they get, it's really good. But one thing we talk about all the time is it's like, that's probably too good. Like they should be spending more and growing more. What I love about what you guys do is you're giving people the ability to grow, even when it goes against this idea that you need like a huge return on ad spend,
Yeah.
Not to talk about metrics.
No, that's good. I agree.
I'd still say 70 to 80% of our clients still are like ROAS obsessed.
Yeah.
The expense of everything else. But I mean, I get it. Like if I was a business owner, I'd be the same way.
Yeah, it's hard not to be.
Like, I don't know. I'd love to hear too what you guys are getting on your Shopanova ads. We get about a 20-to-1 return on our chamber ads, and it's the highest. Actually, it's like 32-to-1, I think.
Wow.
And then I think after we put in like sales labor and stuff, it goes down. So it's like 20-to-1 ROI, but it's like 32-to-1 ROAS. And that's the record. That's our record ROAS in our company history for any project
Yeah.
is our own stuff.
Yeah.
Are you just talking about front end sales, or is that factor in LTV if you have clients on retainer and stuff like that?
That's like project size, 3 months. That's not even factoring LTV actually. That's just
wow.
first
We
contracts.
need to- Can we take a look at your sales scripts?
No, we, dude, as far as like just the front end sale without LTV, we're probably sometimes a 2-to-1, but I think this
Usually
like
around 1-to-1.
Yeah, 1-to-1. And then we make all our profit and money downstream of that with lifetime value.
Yeah.
There is a difference though. Our retention on the creative side is not very long. People get their creative and they got it and they come back like 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
So it is also a different sale,
Mm-hmm.
But
Dude, that's awesome though. It's always nice to be your best case study.
Yeah, that's
cool.
really good, dude.
my point with that though is like, if it was lower, I would be like, I don't know. Anyways, I realize I understand why founders want to have why they all want to have 5, 6, 7 ROAS. Like I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and
like,
it's scary spending a lot of money if you don't, like as a founder, if you don't know if it's going to come back. Like when Corona first hit, we didn't slow down budget at all, and we were starting to lose clients. Clients were falling off, like they weren't going to stay because there's so much uncertainty, and we're like, we had to make a decision internally just to keep the pedal on the metal, keep spending, keep staying in front of people, not really knowing, if we were going to keep getting sales or what was going to happen. But I think that really helped us out, staying in front of people consistently the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So once people kind of got over the initial fear, they're ready to buy from us because we were able to spend the whole time and stay in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah. We had our lead costs went up really dramatically the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Mm.
The elections.
Just with like elections. Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Didn't they banned political ads, right?
Banned what?
I think Facebook may have banned political ads.
Yeah, I think so. And we've had troubles with just a lot of stuff getting disabled and everything too.
Yeah.
Oh, our whole ad account got disabled.
Did it really?
Yeah. They said we were an
nice.
MLM. I was like, guys.
Yeah, that, we get that from time to time too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, last question for you, and then we'll start wrapping up. What's your favorite thing about being a business owner? Is it that
It's the
nice,
rush.
beautiful house that you're building?
It's the rush.
The
It's the
rush.
rush of it. Like, the whole motivation for it was like, I just wanted autonomy,
Uh-huh.
But then you start realizing that the autonomy comes at a greater cost. Like I have friends, I have a friend who does Botox for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Makes $130,000 a year. He works 4 days a week. He has a 0 stress job. He's always complaining about how he wants to go start his own thing, how he wants to be a business owner. I'm like, dude, no, you don't. You don't. You make $130,000 a year. You work 4 days a week. You leave the business and at night and you don't think about it at all. I was like, don't ever leave that. Don't. Like if I was in your shoes at the last job I had, I'd still be there and I'd be stoked about it. So then you go through the 2 or 3 years of hell that's necessary to get some stability. And oh man, when I started, right, everyone said it takes 2 years to get a business off the ground. I'm like, no, not me. Not this business. No way. I'm off the ground. First year, second year. To be fair, we were off the ground. We were profitable and it was awesome. But like the pain and anxiety and the stress of it was definitely outweighing all the other benefits. So now I've decided, because you have to find new things to get motivated, because once you have the autonomy, right? So for me, it's the rush. I've realized I kind of am starting to enjoy the ups and downs. And when anything bad happens, my partner calls me and he's like, head above the clouds, man, head above the clouds. That's just the way to roll. Just like, let it roll off. Just let it roll off. And it's like the longer time goes on, the easier it is to let the downs just kind of roll off. The more diversified the business gets, the stronger and healthier it gets. The fewer number of problems trickle up. And so there's fewer decisions in a day. But the rush, man, of sales is, for me, that's like hopping on a dirt bike or, or like, going on an adventure. It's like that adventure of it now that is intoxicating to me.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Dude, I relate to the rush as well. I mean, it's all started because we wanted to get away from commercial fishing, just because being gone from our families, risking our lives became less fun. So being able to work from home and make money sounded really fun. We had like the classic millennials dream, and luckily it worked out, but it was almost started as running from something. Now it's more chasing our dreams and building long-term vision. That's really fun to me. And seeing what this can look like in 10 years and what we can do for our employees over that amount of time and the amount of impact. I know, like, saying impact is almost cliche, but like it is awesome that we are able to impact our employees and our clients. And it just kind of, starts with decisions, and then seeing it go implemented across the team and then into the client base is pretty fulfilling to me.
Yeah. Same.
I think the team thing is number 2 for me too.
Yeah, it's super fun. For me, it's like just learning to play the game of business. Like I think about it in the same way that I used to love playing sports and stuff. Now for me, that business is kind of that urge where it's like wanting to do well, wanting to have, quote unquote victories, and then just the rush of like when things do work, when you do like lay out a plan and strategize and make decisions, and then you step back and go, whoa, like that worked. That's pretty dang fun, pretty dang satisfying.
I think a business is the best way to chase your dreams, because if you really like riding mountain bikes and you say, I want to do mountain biking for a living, it's like a low likelihood that you're going to be competitive with those elite athletes. And then it's even lower possibility that you're going to make money. And then it's an even lower possibility that you're going to be able to do that for 15 years and stay healthy. So it's like,
yeah,
maybe if that's your dream in life, start a business and then like focus on mountain biking all you want, whenever you want, with like no strings attached. Because if you're full-time mountain biker, that's your business, and your whole livelihood and everything you're doing depends on that, which probably is going to ruin or could ruin that.
Yeah, you won't even like it anymore probably at that point. That's so true.
Yeah, there's too many strings attached to it.
Yeah, when we first started, we wanted.
Nightmare.
Yeah, when we first started, it's because we wanted to do something we were like passionate about, that we really loved doing, but it was kind of a hobby for us. And that was doing videos. And over time, like, I hate doing videos now, probably because I had to do it for a living, and all the stress associated to it. Where I was like, actually, what's fun to me is building a business and having these other hobbies on the side that I can now go and do.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Chambers, thank you so much, dude. We can wrap this up. If you guys enjoyed it, we'll put show notes. You can check out Travis and all they do, some of the fun creatives they do. But please like us, rate, subscribe, all the fun things. Robbie, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, Travis, if somebody wanted, first of all, go follow him on Instagram, follow his company. Yeah. They do amazing things. We'll put links to that. But do you want to point towards people toward, your website? Or I know you have some cool stuff going on with Tangible School. Where can people get more information on some of those things?
Yeah, so everyone for free can join our free Facebook group. It's called Unicorn Ad Creatives.
Sweet.
And we post multiple ad creatives per day with estimated revenue performance.
Ooh,
and
nice.
some analysis. So it's a really good way to start seeing a handful of creatives every day and see how they did. And then also we have a course out if you would like to do DIY creative. We've got a course called sixpackadscourse.com, and it shows you how to make 6 of what we call the foundational ads, the 6 ads that almost every ad account should have. So those are the 2 plugs.
Awesome, man.
Good
Well,
stuff.
thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.